Paving this shit crank.
What's up, you guys? I cannot believe what I'm actually looking at right here. This right here goes beyond anything that I could have imagined that would take place. And it's stating that a bill was passed that Texas bill could let a rapist sue if his victim gets an abortion. What kind of hell is that? So you mean to tell me that this man like violently raped me against my will, and he could have done other things? He could have beat me, he could have done so many things, sodomized me, and I'm going through this trauma that is life-changing and mind-altering, and you're telling me that you're about to pass a bill that give these sons of guns rights? Are you out of your freaking mind? Every last one of them needs to be fired. Anybody that agrees to this bill needs to be fired, period. I don't want to carry a child and some man broke in my house while I was asleep, covered my mouth, beat me, knocked me upside my head, knocked me out cold, and then proceeded to have his way with me. Every time I look at that child, it will be a reminder of the heinous crime that was enacted against me. These men that are in office, they need to have the situation switched around where they see exactly what a female goes through. How dare someone sit up here and tell you that you absolutely have to carry a child that was committed during a crime? This is absolutely ridiculous. How would they like it if their loved one was at home or their beautiful precious daughter was at home and some idiot broke in the house and raped their daughter? I bet you, I'm telling you guys, every time I bring these stories to you guys, I'm telling you, these politicians and these lawyers and judges, they say these types of things until it happens to them. Once it happens to somebody in their family, then they want to change the laws. I just about guarantee you that whoever's in charge of this bill, if their family member was a female and they adored that female and some bozo clown raped that girl and they talking about you cannot get an abortion, I bet you they would underhandedly pay someone to get rid of that baby without saying a word. But it stands for everybody else to go through this heinous crime. That's not cool, because what happens, and I'm just saying hypothetically, you guys, what if a woman has that child and she's forced to have that child, and every time she looks at that child she abuses that child because she remembers what this man did to her, and then he gets to walk around, you know, like he's some kind of prize. He's not a prize. I'm telling you, I really feel like this, and America needs to catch on, because I know I saw a story. Oh, by the way, hi brother Rich Speaks Truth. I saw a story where in India this man raped this girl, this woman, and they were questioning him, and he was laying in the hospital, and he was like, yeah, she wanted it, and they were informing him, she told you no on multiple occasions, and you beat her, knocked her unconscious, and you continued on with your heinous act. And he said, oh well, you know, I did what I did. So what happened in turn is when he tried to move, when the lady was sitting at the foot of the bed, he was like, I'm in so much pain. She said, I know. And what they did was they removed his whole penis. They removed everything. He had no penis anymore to rape anyone. And when he looked between his legs and noticed that it was gone, he screamed for dear life. And this is the thing that needs to take place. If you feel like but first we have to prove without a shadow of a doubt that this person actually raped this person. If this person actually raped this person, that's when I think that they should enact that. They should take his penis away from him, and he can walk around with no penis, no nut sack, none of that. And I'm just keeping it 100%. Okay, so I'm sick and tired of people trying to make laws to appease other people when this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. This is the worst thing I've ever heard of in my life, that you would actually tell someone that if you get attacked, you know, and you want to abort the child, you know, you can't do it. You can get sued by the person that raped you. You guys can stick that up right up your hoo-ha. Anyway, I mean what I say. Texas has spent years attacking access to abortion. After the state exploited the C-19 crisis last spring to try to close abortion clinics, it was hard to imagine it could get more extreme. And this is to the extreme, you guys. This here is to the extreme. And wow. But the Texas legislature is poised to do just that. Excuse me, I'm tongue-tied. By approving legislation being billed as the first of its kind for the tactic it uses to prevent access to abortion. The measure has already been passed by the state Senate and is set to clear a House procedural vote on Thursday. So they're talking about today, as a matter of fact. The reconciled version is expected to get the governor's approval when it reaches his desk. This is crazy. You telling me that this is really going to go forward where a man could rape a woman, get her pregnant, and she can't abort the child? Lord have mercy, please. Like several other states, and they all need to be fired too, have moved to do, Texas would outlaw all abortions once cardiac activity in the fetus can be detected. That usually occurs around 6 weeks. Only 2 weeks past a missed period. And before most women even know they're pregnant, it will function as a near total ban on abortion, making no exceptions for rape or incest. This is disgusting. In some cases, doctors who need to resolve a patient's miscarriage might also be prevented from doing so. So if a woman is about to have, you know what, this is all jacked up. This comes from that bull crap that they've been trying to pass for so long. In some cases, doctors who need to resolve a patient's miscarriage might also be prevented from doing so. So if a child has missing limbs and is going to die anyway, you just want this child to be born and then die, you guys are sick in your head. All of them need to be fired, like literally fired. Oh, this is so disgusting. I'm sorry, you guys, forgive me, because you got people that's trying to make judgments on women's bodies. You're not a woman. That's like us saying that if you if you have erectile dysfunction, then we need to take your whole penis off. If you're a quick ejaculator when you're having sex, we need to cut your penis off. If you're having trouble getting hard and staying hard for a length of time, we need to cut your penis off. Think about it. That doesn't make any sense. But it's the enforcement provisions that make the Texas legislation unique. Everywhere else, only a few public officials can prosecute this kind of law. This legislation goes much further by allowing any person other than a state or local official to sue an abortion provider or someone who aids and abets another person in obtaining an abortion, whether or not they were directly involved and whether or not they're located in Texas. So you can't even give a woman information on where to go basically to end or terminate a pregnancy, which I don't think is right. You know, like I said, you guys, abortion is a hard fight. I don't believe that someone should be allowed to carry a baby because someone violently or incest. I don't think that should happen at all, because I'm not trying to be funny, but I got this conversation from man, I'm trying to be careful because I don't, and it may be wrong. I'm up to people correcting me, but I got this information from, I was in a group, and it was I was supporting a friend of mine, and she's a recovering addict, and she was in Narcotics Anonymous, NA, and then she also went to Alcoholics Anonymous, and I mean, she was doing overkill on the meetings, and I was supporting her. And so when I was sitting in the meeting, there was a kid sitting in there He was like wheelchair bound, and he had a disability, and you could tell because he was in one of those chairs and he was making noises and things like that. So he got a little loud. So I went over to try to see if I could calm him down, which I did, and I'm grateful I did. And they were able to have the meeting. And so the girl began to talk, and she was saying that when you have a humongous Hispanic family, and she said not all families, so because a lot of people there looked at her, but she said not all families, but she said majority of the Hispanic families, when you have a huge family living together, you have some uncles or some cousins or some brothers and dads that are sleeping with relatives, raping and molesting children. And so when the child ends up having a baby, you see all those, she said it, but not me, you see all those retarded children as a result of it. And she said it's really, really bad in the Hispanic family. That's why you have a high number of Hispanics with retarded children, because of the incest within the family. And I was like, wow, I was blown away, and she had stated that she was a victim of incest, and she had other friends in her neighborhood as she was growing up, and family, it seemed like it was the norm, for that situation. But we also, in the black community, we have family members that do the same thing, and a lot of times, the kids don't end up getting pregnant. They don't end up having a baby because the family will go and get an abortion so that there's no evidence, that these crimes have been taking place. So, I don't want to get too technical, but I'm just trying to explain where it might be good to actually let them, abort that child, because then this child does not have a quality of life. They're stuck in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. They can't do anything. They don't have no freedom. They don't have any independence. Somebody is wiping them 24 hours a day, adulthood and on, and some of them don't even have a long life expectancy. So I really don't think that that's fair. And yes, before the heartbeat, I feel like if there is incest in the family, or a woman got raped and she went to the hospital, I think that they should be monitoring her for like at least 2 weeks to find out if she is pregnant. And if they spot that she's pregnant, then they can go ahead and terminate the pregnancy before any vital organs, heartbeat or anything is there, so that you don't have to actually like cause a straight murder. Because I know people that have had abortions before and they're not doing well. They still think about it. It still haunts them to this day. So anyway, let me get back into this story. I just wanted to give a little bit of information, on something that I personally heard. I'm not saying this is the all with all, you know what I'm saying? So it says, in other words, if a Texan becomes pregnant as a result of rape and is providing information about how to obtain an abortion by a rape counselor, the rapist could sue that counselor. If the survivor had what the state deemed as illegal abortion, the rapist could sue the doctor who provided the abortion and anyone else, like a family member who supported them in getting the abortion. You wouldn't get a hot dime out of me. You might get a bus upside the head. And I'm not condoning anybody to do violence, Similarly, see, I told you I get tongue-tied. Someone who provides funds for an abortion could be sued, even if they didn't know that's what the money was being used for. You ain't suing me for nothing. And since anyone who intends to engage in providing an outlawed abortion can also be held liable, it's possible to imagine that the rapist or the other party could sue the provider in advance of the procedure to stop it from happening, denying the victim the ability to have an abortion. Excuse my little champ. Go back in the room. Okay, these are just a few scenarios. By allowing individual lawsuits as opposed to relying on the state to act against any abortion offenses, the measure unleashed an army of abortion opponents to sue and harass providers, counselors, and activists. Once it's signed, courts could be flooded with potentially frivolous and harassing lawsuits. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. This really disturbs me. That's why I'm trying to make sure I'm reading every word correctly, you guys. The House bill does not include some language to prevent a person who commits sexual assault from suing. What? The House bill does the House bill does include some language to prevent a person who commits sexual assault from suing, excuse me. But the law as written could be read to require that the assailant have gone through the legal system. And only about 1 in 4 sexual assaults are even reported, with the vast majority never resulting in a conviction. Not to mention putting the burden of toss to the suit of the survivor. That's crazy. Worse yet, the Senate version doesn't have any such exclusion. The two versions will have to be reconciled after Thursday's vote, but both need stronger language to fix legislation, right? That could be catastrophic for survivors of sexual assault. As a survivor myself, I'm reading, I'm acutely concerned about this measure. I would be. And she says, when I was 19, 2 weeks before the start of my sophomore year of college, I was raped. It completely changed my life. I stopped being able to talk to people, couldn't go to class, couldn't date. It shattered my sense of trust in everyone around me and the world as a whole. If I didn't have my mom, my sister, and my best friend who believed me from the beginning and always supported me, I couldn't have made it through that time. And that's sad that these guys think that it's okay to rape somebody. You know what I'm saying? This is crazy. Like I said, when they do this kind of stuff and they think that they're studs, they need to go right under the knife and get that penis cut right on off. You a stud? Well, guess what? You're gonna have a stub to be a stud. And let's see how you feel being in the locker room and you ain't got no jingle bells. Okay, this, you know what, that's cool. I had a thought, you guys. I wouldn't cut the balls off. I would just leave a itty bitty little penis there for him so he can pee. I wouldn't make it where he can sit down and pee like a woman. You get what I'm saying? So that's what I would do. And he'd have a bunch of sack, like a ball sack. Yeah, I'm sorry. That would be the most awkward thing in the world. He don't even know what he's talking. He laughing at something. He don't even know what I'm saying. This legislature could give the power back to the rapist via state sanctions, reproductive coercion. It could even put survivors who decided to have an abortion over the objection of their rapist or abuser in danger of further harm. Excuse me, you guys. I gotta keep my eyes on this. I can't be worried about what you're doing right now. So sit down because I'm turning my head too quick, Daddy. Okay. I'm in the small percentage of people who were assaulted by a stranger. The vast majority of survivors of sexual violence know their assailant. If this law is passed as written, abusers could potentially isolate the survivor by suing their loved ones, counselors, and caregivers. And even if the abuser himself were barred under the law, it will open up the survivor's support system and medical providers to harassment via constant litigation from his associates. Y'all forgive me for my reading. I'm sorry. I can't chew bubblegum and walk at the same time. I've experienced trying to navigate a legal system that was set up for anything but my healing after my rape. In fact, it only compounded the pain. I could not imagine fighting further trauma on those around me, of putting in harm's way the people who got me through the impossible time had I needed an abortion, or being forced through yet more interaction with a legal system in that vulnerable time. And I can speak from experience that even when you do report, even when you work with law enforcement, your case could still not result in a conviction. Mine didn't even go to trial. Wow. Hers didn't go to trial, honey. I'm not going to say nothing. I'm going to be quiet. Rapists exert power over others and seek to control them. They deny their victims autonomy over their bodies and rob them of the ability to make their own choices. They dehumanize and punish them, and so could this legislation. Let's be clear. Texas is about to pass a law that not only violates the U.S. Constitution as determined by Roe versus Wade, but also changes the very nature of enforcing laws, shifting them from state officials to the mob. That's ridiculous. They all need to be fired. Like I said, all of them. People, y'all need to get out there and start voting and getting these damn people up out of office. That's the problem. Everybody is sitting on their butts and letting stuff pass and talking about it ain't got nothing to do with me. It ain't got nothing to do with me. Okay, it ain't got nothing to do with me. How about your granddaughter, your precious little granddaughter that you love so very much, is walking down the street and some clown bozo snatch her and rape her and get her pregnant, and you didn't do nothing about it. And now guess what? She can't even have an abortion over a child that you sat on your ass and didn't do nothing about because it didn't have nothing to do with me. It don't got nothing to do with me. You are the most ignorant, stupid. That's exactly why stuff is happening in this world, because the people with that kind of mindset, it don't got nothing to do with me. Wait until it has something to do with one of yours. I get so sick and tired of hearing people say that. It ain't got nothing to do with me. It ain't my business. It's your business. Because whatever you ignore today is going to surface in the future and impact your grandchildren that you love so very much. Okay? That you love so very much. Now when people are having discussions about topics and things that mean something right now, and your only response is, well, ain't nobody gonna do nothing about it, they gonna do what they want to do. No, get your ass up and get out there and try to start something to stop these people. As long as we sit here and tucked away in our comfort zone, nothing is ever going to change. But if you get out there and you start protesting and you start getting up in their faces and going to the meetings and disturbing those meetings and making your voice heard, they're going to have to start doing something. The only thing is, when you start a movement, it is a known fact that once you start a movement, you get people that allow other people to come in. They come in with a friendly face, but at the same time they coming in with a mission to infiltrate whatever it is you're trying to do, to destroy it, to try to get you to change your views. And next thing you know, what you were there protesting about, you're no longer doing what you set out to do because you allowed yourself to be shifted. That's the problem. It's been that way for years. It's been that way for years. You know, and I'm not trying to be funny. Look at Black Lives Matter. At first it was all about black people coming together, uniting and making a statement and making, standing the ground for, things that we think that should have been done. All of a sudden it got infiltrated and everybody else is a part of Black Lives Matter. Whatever happened to Black Lives Matter? It just vanished into thin air. Nobody's doing anything. Everybody's getting money. Everybody's buying mansions. So it don't matter. Then you get other people talking about all lives matter, all lives matter. And like I said in the other video, you're not the ones that's being shot first and asked questions later. There was a guy that was out here in California. He had a weapon recently, and he was wilding it around like a mad hatter. They diffused his situation because he had white skin. But then they shot down a black person that didn't have a weapon, like a dog. Then they shot down a Mexican person that had nothing. He didn't have anything in his hands, and they said he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. They shot and killed him like a dog. This is what I'm saying, Americans. We need to start standing up. Who is in office where they're allowing these people to pass such laws? You know, you have a lot of people coming from foreign countries that are getting into our governmental offices, and because it's allowed in their country, they're trying to, enact it in our laws. No. So, let me finish reading this because I veered off, but I do it on purpose so that you can understand where I'm coming from. Essentially, the Senate and House bill create an almost unlimited potential for defendants, contradicting the Texas Constitution's minimum requirement to bring civil legal action, i.e. to have standing. You know what? I need to really focus. I keep trying to listen to the different noises that's going on in the background, and I'm not paying attention 100%. I apologize to you guys, because you know how it is when you got little kids. They'll get into something within a half a second. So let me try to get back before I turn my head and mess up again. In the state, in doing so, they subvert core constitutional and democratic principles in a direct affront to our system of government. Our elected officials should leverage their power in support of the dignity of survivors like me, not our rapists. Exactly. They should be protecting our rights and securing our ability to live and thrive, not obstructing it. Right. That's obstruction when you sit up here and try to give a rapist more respect than you do the victim. That's sick. At the very least, they should not perpetuate the cycle of abuse. But survivors like me and organizations like the American Civil Liberties Union of Texas have the opportunity to fight back. We must defeat this effort. Yes, and I really pray that they defeat, and even the other states that have this stupid, mind-blowing, twisted, sadistic type of law, I believe that it should be shut down, cut down, and all those people that are in belief of this system needs to be fired. They need to have their head examined, because that tells me one thing. If you go out there and pass this law and then you rape a woman and get her pregnant and she wants to get rid of a baby, maybe you like a certain woman and this woman don't like you. She don't want nothing to do with you, and this law has been passed, and so now what do? You go out there and say, okay, she gonna like me. She gonna like me whether she want to or not. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rape her and I'm gonna get me a baby from her, and I know she ain't gonna get rid of my baby. Why? Because we passed this law. You don't know what kind of sick thoughts people have. And my friends sometimes, they be like, you be thinking too deep. No, when I think too deep, it mainly is the truth. So you guys, please look out for your family members. You guys keep your eyes on your females, and let's get these folks up out of office, you guys. Let's get these sick, twisted, sadistic folks up out of office. Bill passed that could let a rapist sue his victim for getting an abortion. I've never heard such stupidity in all my life. You guys, I'll talk to you in the next video. He's coming and he's about to disturb me again. So you guys, have a nice day and be safe. Don't forget to hit that like button, that post notification bell, and that subscription button, and I'll get back with you later. Bye.